everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're excited because today's video is a Dollar Tree mystery box challenge. If you're not familiar with this challenge, it's a challenge where there's a group of us YouTubers and we each have one person to send a mystery box of items to. That person has to unbox the items, including 2 special challenge items, and we have to create DIYs out of the items in these boxes. Of course, we have no idea what's in them. The mastermind behind this challenge was Courtney over at Creative on the Cheap. So right now I am gonna unbox what is in my Dollar Tree mystery box and share it with you. All right, so the person who sent me my box was Whitney over at Whiskey and Whit. The person receiving my box was Heidi Sonboul. That's Heidi over at Heidi Sonboul DIY. Ooh. Oh, this is so nice. She even packaged this stuff nice. My goodness. Dear Yami, I'm so excited about this collab. I can't wait to see what you create with these goodies. I hope all is well in Georgia, and I'm so enjoying following your adventures in home renovation. Happy crafting, Whitney. It's so sweet. It's always so sweet to get a letter like this. These are the challenge items. We're gonna go ahead and put these on the side real quick, and then, oh, nice. Oh, okay. I haven't seen this yet. There's this little aloha sign. It's actually a little piggy bank. And then there's this little homemade one. This is actually really cute just the way it is. I don't know. It's kind of hard to change that one. That's adorable. All right. Got some chalkboard tags. Okay, I laugh because I sent Heidi one of these. So what a coincidence. Oh, I sent Heidi some of these too. These do come in handy. These are really cool, you guys. This is what I had not seen in my store yet. I don't know, but this is basically a fishing net. Oh my gosh, these little plaques, these are really awesome, you guys. And there's an ornament or like a little, I don't know, it's an ornament or just a round little plaque. Look at this. Stencils. I hadn't seen these in my Dollar Tree. I'm so excited. So excited. All right, look at this. This is so cute. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. All right, I'm cracking up. All right. I got some ping pong balls. What's the next one? Oh, okay. Here we go. So for my first DIY, I'm going to start with one of my challenge items. I placed the door hanger on top of the scrapbook paper and began to cut it out. I used a box cutter and got as close to the edge as possible. The paper wasn't as tall as the actual hanger, so I had to actually attach a second piece on the top, and I had to modify it so it would fit over that curved spot. Very carefully, I cut around it until I got the shape that I needed. Then, using some matte finish Mod Podge, I attached the scrapbook paper on to the little hanger. I made sure to place it down carefully and then used my Mod Podge squeegee that I love so much to get everything super straight and flat. Then I did the same thing to the top part with the extra little curved piece of paper. I let it dry for a couple of hours and then I came back and sealed it with more Mod Podge. I had some pumpkin forms from Dollar Tree's fall decor from last year, and I had this little pumpkin that I had stained, and I decided to add it to the little hanger by using some hot glue. I had a smaller little pumpkin that I added as well. And I decided to make a simple decal that said "Hello Fall." I will be adding this little decal to my little online shop as well. Then I added a cute little leaf. And that was it for this DIY. And I must say, this has got to be my favorite one out of all the ones that I did today. Now before the next DIY, I wanted to share all of the amazing ladies who are going to be participating in this mystery box challenge. There's going to be a playlist that's going to actually list us from start to finish, from the first person sending the box to the next person, and so on and so forth, so that you can just watch them all straight through in order. I will have that link in my description box below. For the second DIY, I'm going to be using the little Aloha bank. And I'll be honest, this actually didn't turn out as nice as I had hoped. But my kids really like it, and hopefully this will give you an idea of something that you can do. And as you can see, it's really easy to remove these decals from these dollar store items using a sharp razor. Next, I removed the sticker from the back panel using a hair dryer. And since I was going for a fall theme with my DIYs, I decided to kind of coordinate everything, so I used the remaining piece of scrapbook paper for the back panel. I used Mod Podge to adhere the scrapbook paper onto the back panel. Next, I took some acrylic paint in the color Country Twill, and I had these little wooden letters. You can find these at Dollar Tree, and I decided to go ahead and paint them. I also painted another little pumpkin that I found. So when it was time to assemble this back together, I actually hot glued the glass back on because out of tapping the glass, it actually popped right out, and I didn't want it to pop out with my little kiddos, so I went ahead and secured it. Then I hot glued the little fall letters onto the back panel. And I used those little squares to adhere to the back of the pumpkins because I kind of wanted it to be a little 3D shadow box, and I needed a way to have the little pumpkins stand up on their own inside the frame. Next, I just tested where I wanted the little pumpkins before I glued them down. After they were glued down, I had this little haystack from Dollar Tree as well, and I started pulling off little bits of it and then putting it inside the shadow box with the pumpkins. Next, I took these little fairy lights that I had on hand. I had previously purchased them on Amazon for another project and had some left over, and then I just began to adhere it to the walls of the shadow box. I wrapped it around as I adhered hot glue to the little sides, waiting for them to dry and then moving on to the next one. Once done, I wrapped the excess cord behind the largest pumpkin and then closed the back. And that was it for this DIY. And I'm sure you can see why my kids love this DIY so much. So for this next DIY, I'm going to be using that little wood disc. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my home decor wood tint in the color Walnut, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a stain on both sides. And then for a little bit of contrast, I decided to paint the sides a white chalk paint. I decided to use one of the stencils from the stencil pack, and I decided on the little hello because it had a round design on it, which I thought would go perfect on the round disc. So I placed it on top and then decided to paint it with some white chalk paint. Now the design on this little stencil is really delicate, and using a bouncer was probably not the best idea. This bouncer would pull the stencil up as I pressed down on it and then pulled away, so this was not the right tool for it. So I ended up changing to a stencil brush, and this worked so much better. Once dry, I added some more jute string to hang it back up, and that was pretty much all I did for this DIY. I think it would be great as a gift. It would be great to hang on a wreath as a wreath ornament, or hey, hang it on your tree. But I absolutely love the way it looked. It's simple, but it definitely has a nice little feel to it. So my next DIY, I'm going to be using these little tennis balls, and this is nothing new. Everybody's done these already. I'm sure you've seen them, but all I did was wrap them up with some moss, and all you need to do is use a hot glue gun for this. Make sure you don't burn yourself, but you do want to try and pack it down and create a nice little round ball out of your little moss balls. And these are perfect for vase or container fillers. The key to making them look nice and not like a DIY craft is by placing them in a nice container. I placed them inside this little urn that I DIY'd alongside some more vase fillers that I had previously purchased at Dollar Tree, and I think it has a very nice woodland feel to it, which I think is perfect for fall. So for my last DIY, I am going to use this little plaque, and I'm going to incorporate it into a fall sign since I'm obviously going with that theme. So I had this little sad sign from Dollar Tree back from Easter, and I decided to use it for my sign, along with some dowels that I already had on hand. I believe these are 3/8 of an inch. I took some of this scrapbook paper that I already had on hand, and I went ahead and cut it to fit the sign. Since the paper was shorter than the actual sign, I had to cut 2 pieces of scrapbook paper. So what I did was I cut it along one of the edges of the faux wood planks that were on the scrapbook paper. That way it looks like an additional plank at the bottom of the sign, and you can't tell the difference that there's 2 different pieces of paper. Before I applied the scrapbook paper, I went ahead and took some sandpaper and removed all of the glitter from the words, and I also smoothed out the area where I had pulled off the little ribbon from the bunny's neck. I wiped it all down, and then I applied Mod Podge. I applied the first sheet, smoothed it down. Again, I used my little squeegee for this to make it nice and flat. And then I attached the bottom piece. Now you can see I still hadn't cut the edges off of this, but I'll do that after it dries. For the frame, I used those dowels. I made markings where I needed to cut, and then I used my shears to cut those dowels perfectly. I love using those shears. They make cutting dowels so much easier for crafts like this. I'll make sure to place a link in the description box below if you want to check them out. I used some more of my wood tint in the color walnut to give the dowels a nice stain. Now for that oval plaque, I give it 1 coat of black chalk paint. I had these little pumpkin picks from previous years, and I decided to go ahead and use them since some of them had little paint stains, and I decided to cut them in half so I could have a 3D sign. I saw a couple years ago Auntie Cuckoo do something like this with a bigger pumpkin, and I thought it was such a cute idea, so I thought I'd incorporate that here. And I just used a box cutter to cut them open. Now, I wasn't too fond of the color of the pumpkins, so I took some acrylic paint in the color pumpkin, and I gave all of them about 3 coats to fully cover them. Then I took some country twill and some white chalk paint and kind of mixed them in with the pumpkin and dry brushed them with a little fan brush to give it a more natural look to these pumpkins. I went back, cut the excess paper off, and it was time to add the frame. Now, I always share different ways to attach frames onto my little signs like this. For this one, if you don't have any heavy-duty tools or don't want to use a hammer or nail or anything like that, just use simple popsicle sticks on the back of your sign because you kind of need somewhere to adhere the dowels to since this is a very thin sign. And I use jumbo popsicles for this. Make sure they don't stick any further than the actual dowels would, and then you just adhere the hot glue right onto the popsicle stick and the edge of your sign, and then you glue your dowel onto that. I decided I would go ahead and make a little decal for this as well, saying Bienvenidos, which means welcome in Spanish. I'll also make sure to put this in my little shop as well. And then I adhered it onto the top of the sign. I used a mix of Gorilla Glue and hot glue for this. Now, before I adhered the little pumpkins onto the sign, I also took some sticks and added them to create little stems. Then I took some hot glue and added them onto the sign. The little pumpkins ended up being a little bare, so I added some little greenery to the stems to make them look like pumpkin leaves. And that was the final step for this DIY. Now, if I wanted to hang it up, it's actually a very light sign, so all I need to do is add some jute to the back by hot gluing it and then just hanging it up on a little nail. So that's it for my Dollar Tree Mystery Box Challenge DIYs. I didn't get to use everything, but I think I made some fun home decor pieces with the items from that box. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Dollar Tree Mystery Box Challenge. I had so much fun creating all the items in this video. Let me know in the comments below which one of these DIYs was your favorite. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get more Dollar Tree DIYs like this. Thank you so much, Courtney, for doing another round of this Mystery Box Challenge. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Until then, adios.